myself getting frantic. Maybe too much coffee did it. I bump up the music, bump up the click. I pick up the speed till I'm deep in it. Then I give it a half tip, and just like magic, I feel like I'm back and that my body's electric. I'm feeling elastic and super fantastic and flipping like I know gymnastics. I like to shake a leg. I like to nod my head. I like to make a snow angel while lying in my bed. But don't give me no smooth talk unless you got a good moonwalk. And smile with your hips, smile with your hips, smile with your hips. Ah, my kind of magic is automatic. I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing. Even if it's raining, I'm not complaining. I feel like dancing. 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 Now everybody freeze. I like to dance and it looks like this.
I like to dance and it looks like this.
Yeah, looking good. We like to dance and it looks like this. Come on. Smile with your hips, smile with your hips, smile with your hips. Ah, my kind of magic is automatic. I feel like dancing. I feel like dancing. Even if it's raining, I'm not complaining. I feel like dancing. 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 We 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 feel like dancing.
Have I done my best here, or will I be here next year, or are these my best years yet? Was looking forward to being important, but I'm not important yet. If you put this scene on a movie screen, is it called a happy end? If the word gets me where I'm supposed to be, will I know I've made it then? It's so hard. Can we skip to the good part? If there's a good part, then I hope it's not far cut, 'cause I thought it'd be today. I napped on campus and I smoked at dances, but it didn't feel so great. If you put this scene on a movie screen, is it called a happy end? If the word gets me where I'm supposed to be, will I know I've made it then? It's so hard. So can we skip to the good part?
These things take time. Mom and dad, they have a good life. But what am I gonna do?
There's a space in my heart when it all comes crashing down. Anytime I hear your name out in public, there's a place that I go every time that you're in town. It's just me in my nights, in my stomach. And it's true, it wasn't easy getting over you, but that's just what I had to do. Whatever, whatever, we were never good together. I'll be here and you stay there. Truth is I never cared. Whatever, whatever, 2 years that ain't forever.
I should be scared, honey, maybe so.
But I ain't worried about it right now.
Keeping dreams alive, 1999 heroes.
I ain't worried about it right now.
Swimming in the floods, dancing on the clouds below.
I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it.
I don't know what you've been told, but time is running out, so spend it like it's gold. I'm living like I'm 90 got no regrets even when I'm broke. Yeah, I'm at my best when I got something I wanted to steal. We're too busy for them problems and problems to feel. Yeah, yeah, no stressing, just obsessing with sealing the deal. I take it in and let it go.
But I ain't worried about it right now.
Keeping dreams alive, 1999 heroes.
I ain't worried about it right now.
Swimming in the floods, dancing on the clouds below.
I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it right now.
Keeping dreams alive, 1999 heroes.
I ain't worried about it right now.
Swimming in the floods, dancing on the clouds below.
I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it.
Can't dance, but I'm dancing with a model. I might have messed up, but I never had a doubt. Blacked out, 'cause there might be no tomorrow. I'm out my mind, but look who's laughing now. I know you know, it kinda show. Yeah, I'm the angel, I'm the devil, I'm the joke. Roll out of bed, I just got dressed. I'm still the same me, forget the rest. Whoa, I can't dance, but I'm dancing with a model. I might have messed up, but I never had a doubt. Blacked out, 'cause there might be no tomorrow. I'm out my mind, but look who's laughing now. Goddamn, yeah, I think she caught the fever. She got me stressed out 'cause she say I do her proud. Blacked out, 'cause there might be no tomorrow. I'm out my mind, but look who's laughing now. Too young to care, too old to dare. So let me live a little more, it's only fair. I met the man when I was young. He told me, boy, just wait and see what you become. Lay me down in the sheets of linen. You had a beautiful day today. All the closer, hold me closer. All the closer.
There are caravans we follow.
Drunken nights and dark hotels, baby. When chances breathe between the silence.
Where sex and love no longer dare.
Hold me closer, time to dance. Count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in the sheets of linen. You had a beautiful day today. All the closer, all the closer, baby. All the closer, hold me closer, me closer, me closer.
I had a dream so big and loud. I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I stretched my hands out to the sky. We danced with monsters through the night. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My I howled at the moon with friends, and then the sun came crashing in. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. But all the possibilities, no limits, just epiphanies. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, just don't wake me now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My I hear it calling outside my window. I feel it in my soul. The stars were burning so bright, the sun was out till midnight. I say we lose control. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life.
Am I living? Oh, what a funny thing to say. But there's alive and then there's living. Am I living for today?
I'm getting older. With every memory I make. Now that I'm older, with these moments, will I live for them or just throw them away? Away. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. On a cloudy day. Your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. On a cloudy day. Your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. And am I wiser for holding close the friends I make? But if I'm wise, then why this feeling of a child that I can't shake? And I'm getting older with every memory I make. Now that I'm older, with these moments, will I live for them or just throw them away? Away. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. On a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. On a cloudy day. Your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. Day.
That's how you know that April turned July. When you run from me, shall catch me in the rye. Grass on my toes, a garden full of life. As the flowers bloom, so do you and I. Conversations I love to hold while we tumble around like we're 6 years old. Then you smile and say, oh, do you feel tired? Come and rest your lips on mine. Rest your lips on mine. Come and rest your lips on mine. Sweep me away, open your eyes. Under the sun, your hips on mine. Conversations I love to hold while we tumble around like we're 6 years old. Then you smile and say, oh, do you feel tired? Come and rest your lips on mine. Rest your lips on mine. Come and rest your lips on mine. Conversations I love to hold while we tumble around like we're 6 years old. Then you smile and say, oh, do you feel tired? Come and rest your lips on mine. Rest your lips on mine. Rest your lips on mine. Rest your lips on mine.
When I was a young boy living in the city, all I did was run. Staring at the lights, they look so pretty. Mama said, son, you're gonna grow up, you're gonna get old. sky might fall. They'll say that you might lose it all. So I run until I hit that wall. Yeah, I learned my lesson, count my blessings up to the rising sun. Run, run, run. Yeah, one day will the sky might fall. Yeah, one day I could lose it all. So I run until I hit that wall. If I learn my lesson, count your blessings up to the rising sun. And run, run, run. Run, run, run. Didn't get everything that I wanted, but I got what I need. Yeah, yeah, I see that light in the morning shining down on me. So take me up high, take me down low, bear it all and somebody knows. But until then, let's have some fun. Yeah, run, 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 run. They tell you that the sky might fall. They'll say that you might lose it all. So I run until I hit that wall. Yeah, I learned my lesson, count my blessings up to the rising sun. Run, run, run. Yeah.
Morning, everybody. How we doing this Sunday? Isn't it nice that it's kind of nice and sunny out? And they turn the lights off, and they're back on. Hi, I'm glad I'm here. I hope you're glad I'm here. Well, we're so happy to see all your beautiful faces, and so happy you chose to spend your time with us today. If you would like to, if you want to, if you can, please stand with us as we sing a few songs. Can I be honest? I've gotta be honest. Lord, I believe you, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. If you don't mind broken things, then you can have my heart. No filter, just the way it is. It's far from perfect, God, but it's real and it's what I've got. No varnish and no hiding place. I'm taking a chance, coming just as I am. I'm rolling the dice on the truth. Can I be honest? I've gotta be honest. Lord, I believe you, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. Will you be faithful when I am faithless? Lord, I believe you, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. Would you love me if I'm honest? Will you love me if I'm honest with you? Is there room for who I am? All my doubt and question me. They seem to think that you can handle it. But if you bore that heavy cross, how could you buckle under this? Come on, let's wrestle till the deadline breaks. I'm taking a chance, coming just as I am. I'm rolling the dice on the truth? Can I be honest? I've gotta be honest. Lord, I believe you, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. Will you be faithful when I am faithless? I'm a believer, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. Would you love me if I'm honest? Would you love me if I'm honest with you? If I could kick out and screaming, will you turn around and slam that door? Or will you love me even in my darkest? Yeah, I'm hoping and trusting you're the kind of God I think you are. And then you love me even in my chaos. Can I be honest? I've gotta be honest. Lord, I believe you, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. Will you be faithful when I am faithless? I'm a believer, but I'm gonna need you to help my unbelief. Will you love me if I'm honest? Will you love me if I'm honest with you?
I am loved in my Father's arms, they welcome me. I was lost, but He brought me in. Oh, His love for me. Oh, His love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, I can just be me. His love runs deep. There's no shame, I will shout and sing, oh, His love for me. Oh, His love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's
God, it all comes down to this: to be your hands and feet, goodwill to all the world. Oh, it's love that sets us free. Act justly, love mercy, walk humbly with you, God, in all things, in all ways. Walk humbly with you, God. It's beauty for ashes, it's mourning to dancing. It's closer and closer to love and harmony. It's beauty for ashes, it's mourning to dancing. It's closer and closer to love everlasting. Born years from now, we'll see the fruit our hands have sown. Love just like a seed, the only way it grows. Act justly, love mercy, walk humbly with you, God, in all things, in all ways. Walk humbly with you, God. Thank you guys so much. We love you.
Hey, what's up guys, and good morning. My name is Michelle and I'm your creative arts director here at the venues. When you guys walked in the auditorium this morning, you should have received a bulletin. Check it out, as there's some helpful information in there for you. And if you've got kids birth through 12th grade, we have Family Venue going on right now. You should drop your kiddos off. They'll have a great time, and when you drop them off, you should receive a 4-digit code. Keep that with you in case we need to reach you during service. We will flash that code on this display. Parents, if you've got your baby or toddler with you and they need a break during service, there is a room we call the Wiggle Room. It's right next to the lobby. Feel free to go in there and you can still watch the service live. And every Thursday we have what's called Bar Church. It's our midweek gathering at Mother's Brewing in downtown Springfield, where we basically reconnect in the middle of the week. It's Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. We hope to see you guys there. Connection Sunday is coming up on March 22nd, right after service. We'll have different areas set up all around the auditorium where you can meet leaders, explore connection groups we have to offer here, and maybe find a place that feels right for you. It's really easy, low pressure. You get to meet great people and learn more about how you can get connected here. And yes, there will be plenty of dips and chips to enjoy while you do it. So it's going to be a fun morning. So make sure you stick around after service and check it out March 22nd. Save the date for Easter Sunday on April 5th. We'll be celebrating together with 2 services at 8:30 and 10 a.m. Easter is one of our favorite Sundays of the year, a time where many new friends and families join us. So if you call this your regular church home, we'd love to ask that if you're able, you consider coming to the 8:30 service. That simple choice helps us make more room at the 10 a.m. service for guests and first-time visitors. We're really looking forward to celebrating Easter together, so mark your calendars. Easter Sunday. If you want to keep up with us on the web, go check out our website at thevenues.org. There you can give online, get more information of what's coming up, sign up for Connection Group, sign up to volunteer. We're always looking for more volunteers, and we're also on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So add the venues as your favorite. That way we can beat the algorithm and we pop up on your feed. And if it's your first time here with us, we are so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us this morning. Before you head out the doors, be sure to see us by the lobby. There's a first-timer visitor area by the TV. We would love to give you a gift just for being here today. Can you believe it's March? I love you guys. That's all I have for you guys today. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
always have a goal. We're told to have a goal. We're told to strive harder, do more, to always look forward. And I think sometimes we forget that when we look backwards, we see more because we see how far we worked to get where we are. And, you know, I had the joy of celebrating. Today is my grandmother's 94th birthday. She lives on her own in Diamond, Missouri, and I went to see her yesterday. We celebrated. And my grandparents went to church and were always very faithful in the Methodist Church and helped build it. And I always thought that their faith in God was a blind faith, right? They just believed and things happened, and I didn't have that. I still sometimes don't. But when I listened to this song, I think this is what really kicked me right in the hind end. Faith is action, too. Faith is what we've done to get where we are, because even when we weren't sure, we still took those steps, and we still got up, and we still did. And I think that everyone in this room is here for a reason and for a purpose, and we all work together as a community to do great things. And that's one thing about the venues that I love. The money that we raise here, the money that comes in, goes to things like feeding the homeless, and that's something that I enjoy. Our unsheltered friends deserve help, and we give it. We help people in the community. I had a client recently in my day job, and Josh Golden was so kind to when I gave my call and said, hey, this person's struggling, the venue stepped up and helped, and that meant a lot. I know that we do so many good things in the community in terms of offering things like recess, which I know many of you give your time and effort to, where families get respite and their kids get to come together and have a really great time in a safe environment where there is nobody preaching at their children, right? There's no strings attached. Those things are all wonderful, and I know that today as we give and you listen to this song, I hope that it makes you feel good. I will give you a fair disclaimer. I do cry a lot. The first time we came to the venues, my husband might have been embarrassed, but it was our first visit, and I cried through that song too. And sweet, sweet Paige that sits by me sometimes also admitted she cries. So we'll cry together for this song. But thanks again, guys, and we'll let the band play.
If I took all that I've got, spread it out on this table, might not seem like once glimmering joy, slowly fading from you. All the change in my pocket, not enough. Picture of you. Still, I've heard all that I have, and a moment is hardly a sign of everything coming my way. I believe when I need it, it will be mine. So let's take this slowly. All I need is coming, but it's just beyond what I can see. So with my eyes pressed forward, fierce alarm, just turn my head back to see how we got this far, and I'll be alright. I'm not asking for mountains of riches, no silver nor gold. Don't need fame. I can't take when I go. I'm just asking for grace, grace to carry on, grace to take joy in my place at the table, and the rocket standing alone. Still I've heard all that I have, and the moment is hardly a sign of everything coming my way. I believe when I need it, it will be mine. Oh, let's take this slowly. All I need is coming, but it's just beyond what I can see. So if my eyes press forward and feels alarm, just turn my head back to see how we got this far, and I'll be alright. Even when I'm burnt down, even when I've got down now, and I can't find the way around, and I know everything is coming back around. Even then I'm calling loud enough to wake up, and I believe that everything I have and everything that I will hold, what I hold will be enough. Will it be enough? So let's take this slowly. All I need, it's coming, but it's just beyond what I can see. So if my eyes press forward and feels alarm, just turn my head back to see how we got this far, and I'll be alright, and I'll be alright, I'll be alright. Thank you, guys.
Moments where it just felt like the universe or God was just talking directly to you. I have a friend who calls those moments Gus moments. They call them God, universe, and spirit moments, like Gus. And I'll be honest with you, I had one of those as I was preparing the talk that I'm going to do this morning. I knew that the topic for today was about how love doesn't say that we constantly need more and more. And as I was literally sitting at my laptop typing, I got a notification on my phone that said this. It said that I needed to step up to the smarter, faster Google Pixel 10a. And I don't know about you, maybe for me, Gus sounds more like Google. And for you, sometimes it might sound like Siri or Alexa. But I sometimes worry that I have replaced the sound of the divine in my life with the sound of the device in my pocket. Yeah, hold on to that for a second, right? But I think it's actually pretty amazing that when I look at the next generation, Gen Z seems to actually be pushing against this pattern that my generation and a lot of other generations have pushed into. The fact that we always have to be on, that our device has stopped being a way to connect and more of a leash. It was recently reported this way by Catherine Tenheim. She said, Gen Z is taking a surprising analog turn as some return to landline phones. It's a coping mechanism for mental overload, a rebellion against algorithmic manipulation, and a reassertion of agency over attention. This isn't a fad. It's a generational recalibration driven by creating balance. Now, I'll be honest, this doesn't mean, by the way, that the next generation is just throwing their cell phones into the ocean or that they suddenly have full attention spans. But I do think that this is one of those places that the next generation has started to point out something, at least to me, that I think is really helpful. It's the fact that many of us in our core know that we need some kind of balance, don't we? We know that when everything is out of balance, that we try to find a way to recalibrate, that we need to fix some things, that something is not right. And while we can sit and complain, right, about the number of ads that we get all the time on every single thing, or the way that it seems like streaming services are constantly both getting worse in terms of their quality, more expensive and how much they cost per month, and the number of ads that we get, I think there may actually be a bigger underlying problem that describes a lot of this and how we interact with the world around us. It's part of the reason, actually, that right now we've been doing this series called Love Doesn't Say That. You see, many of us have been told by our families or by our faith communities or by those who tell us that they love us that love looks like certain things. Maybe they've been things that we've been happy to accept initially, but then slowly they start to make us feel a little uncomfortable. Is this really what love is supposed to be like? It feels like we are constantly bombarded with information that tells us that we are to love people by buying them certain things, doesn't it? I mean, just this week, I saw things that said that we could tell our loved ones that we love them by buying everything from cigarettes to vegan chocolate balls to a brand new car to hiring a mariachi band. But I'm not sure if those things tell others that we love them as much as they probably say that there are businesses willing to do anything they can to exploit things like your anniversary so that you'll pay more dollars for the things that you would pay less dollars for otherwise. And it makes me wonder, is it possible that there's just a different way? What if the path of following Jesus actually looks like the opposite of what everyone else has been telling us? What if instead of hiring a mariachi band or buying a new car, what if the path of love looks like buying less? Or said maybe a little bit differently, what if following the path of love looks like being more intentional about what we do buy? This is something that I really appreciate how Dr. Catherine Tanner helps us reframe this. She is a professor of theology at Yale, And she recently said this, that today's finance-dominated capitalist system preoccupies itself with various person-shaping capacities. The effect of all of this is an inability to step back and take a critical perspective on the current economic system. One is led to believe that all one can expect is more of the same. Christianity, by virtue of the way it relates the individual to God, has the ability to break open these restrictive forms. In other words, and maybe you feel this way as well, I feel that with all that's going on, with all of the ads, with all of the pressure to make more and do more, to have more, that the only thing that it seems like we can expect is to just stay on the treadmill, just to keep the same, that we're just expecting more and more and more and more of the same. But maybe, just maybe, and I could be wrong about this, but maybe our lives don't have to look like that. And that's actually today's big idea. It's the idea that as you leave today, as you get in your car and you go home or wherever you go for lunch or whatever that looks like, there's this idea that I want us to have in our brains, and it's this, that love doesn't require more from us. It asks us to be intentional. We're going to unpack this over the next 25 minutes or thereabouts, but I want you to have this in your head that love doesn't require more from us. It asks us to be intentional. You know, in a world of overwhelm, with the feeling like we have to constantly have more, what if the path of love is the opposite of that? What if the point of this life isn't to die with the most toys, but rather it's to make the biggest difference in the lives of the people around us? In the Christian New Testament, there's this story that I think actually lands right at this point. It shows up in the book of Luke, which if you got a Bible for the holidays or something, and you started reading and you were like, I'm going to read the stories of Jesus, so you started in the New Testament. It goes like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the first 4 books of the New Testament. They basically tell stories about Jesus' life. So Luke is the third of those books. And the story that we're going to be looking at today shows up in chapter 3. And so to just kind of set the stage here for a second, there's this guy named John. You might have heard him referenced as John the Baptist, and he's kind of this wild guy. He runs around in the desert wearing camel skins and eating honey all the time. And he walks around and he's been saying to people, look, the system is broken. And I'll be honest with you, I think that if he stood up here on stage and said, hey y'all, the system is broken, that there's a whole lot of us that would go, yup. Yep. When I look around the world, the system that we are in seems like it is broken. And after he calls out the people a little bit and asks them some questions about this, they have a very interesting response. And instead of it just asking John about some theory or some theology, I want you to see exactly what the crowd asks him. And it shows up in Luke chapter 3, verse 10, and it says this. The crowds asked, what should we do? The crowds just asked, what should we do? I think if we're honest with ourselves, this is where so many of us start today. We look around us and we are tired of theoretical answers. And honestly, we're tired of theological answers. We hear politicians and theorists and our Facebook friends and whoever we watch on the news, and there are these things that happen, and the response seems to be like thoughts and prayers. And we're like, that is not a practical answer. And so we're just like, so what do we need to do? And that's actually the first principle that I want to look at today as we're unpacking this big idea, that intentionality starts by asking the practical questions and then caring about the answers. So intentionality starts by asking the practical questions and then caring about the answers. Part of what I think so much of the Venues does is that one of our guiding principles here has always been that we truly believe that the way to follow the path of love is the way that we care for others. the way that we care for the hungry, the way that we feed people every single Thursday night and every single Friday morning to make sure that our hungry people in our community are cared for, the way that we make sure that those who are cold have places to stay overnight when the temperature drops. We actually believe that the way that we act out love is more important than the number of Bible verses we memorize. We might disagree about some theologies, and I'll be honest with you, that is fine. Let's go get a cup of coffee and talk about it. That's great. But the way that we live out our love is so much more critical. I think, and like I said, I could be wrong about this. I don't want to speak for you. But I do think there are a lot of us in this room, or maybe who are watching online right now, who would say things like, when we've looked around in the past and thought, constantly going to war doesn't feel like it's the right thing. So what should we do about it? Or we look at the news and we say, that doesn't seem to make any sense. And we ask these questions, that the reason that a lot of us have found our way to the venues is because the theoretical answers or the theological answers just weren't cutting it. That when we ask what we should do and we are met with nothing but Bible verses, it seems to miss the boat. And I will say this, that part of that process of moving through it together is that sometimes the answer to the question of what should we do is uncomfortable, even if it's right. Tom Lasseter, who is a journalist for Reuters, recently experienced this a few years ago. He had been an international journalist for 17 years. He actually met his wife, who was also a journalist, while they were covering stories in Iraq. Then they got married in Russia, had their first son in China, their second in India, and then they spent the next 2 years in Singapore, where they were covering news for Reuters. And then they decided, you know what? It's time to bring our kids back to where we were born, show them around, kind of show them the United States. And it just happened to be that the time that this lined up with was in the summer of 2020. So right after the murder of George Floyd. And Tom Lasseter asked this question: had this country, which I had yet to introduce my sons, ever truly reckoned with its history of slavery? As he was asking this question, his editors actually greenlit an opportunity for Tom to do a genealogy study on the sitting members of Congress and the administration to see if maybe there were reasons why things weren't passing, like the fact that people used to have family members who owned other people, had enslaved other people. They thought this will be an awesome story. It'll break the internet and all of those things, and people will be like, oh, wow, obviously this is why we haven't solved racism yet. What Tom was not expecting, though, was that as he did this study, he found something much, much deeper. And I'd like you to actually listen to him as he shares this part of his story.
I moved back to the United States in the summer of 2020 after about 17 years living abroad as a foreign correspondent. And that summer in Washington, D.C., watching coverage of the protests that followed the death of George Floyd, I thought back to that memory of being on this land with my grandfather, him pointing at that well and saying the slaves built that. And I wondered, had my family enslaved people? If so, who were they?
A last will from Lasseter's great-great-great-great-grandfather George Julian revealed the names of 9 enslaved people that would be kept by the family. Among them, 2 people named Dick and Lot. Lasseter's search for their descendants crossed a history drenched with blood, a campaign of terror and lynchings after the 1912 election of Woodrow Wilson that drove out all but a few dozen of the more than 1,000 Black people who lived in Forsyth County. A chat with an Atlanta-based research assistant who was tracing descendants of people who fled Forsyth led Lasseter to a meeting with Elon Osby, whose grandmother, Ida Bagley, was born to Richard and Charlotte Julian. Based on a review of 1860 and 1870 census forms, and a set of 1907 documents later filled out by Richard and Charlotte Julian's children, which gave what they referred to as slave names used by Richard and Charlotte. They were either the Dick and Lot mentioned in the will of George Julian, or they were enslaved by George's brother, Bailey.
It makes people real now, you know. My mother never mentioned their names. She didn't tell me what her grandfather's name was other than Julian. And I think my brother learned that from my aunt.
Yeah. You know, I wonder if it's possible that the reason sometimes we don't want to ask the hard questions is because we're afraid of what the answer might be if we really asked it. It's the reason, by the way, that sometimes I don't want to stand on a scale and send my weight to my trainer after I've had half a pizza the night before. It's the reason when I was in college, sometimes I didn't actually want to look at my grades because I thought, you know, if I don't look at them, maybe they're much better than I thought they would be. And sometimes it's way more serious than that. In this story of Tom and Elon, the descendant who was one of the slave families that Tom's family had owned, the answer was uncomfortable. And I'll be honest with you, it actually got more uncomfortable. At the end of this story, Tom comes to Elon, he gives her all of these genealogies. And he says, you know, I'm really, really sorry for that. And she says, I accept your apology and I appreciate it. But what I really think is appropriate is financial reparations. And I wonder if that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. It might make you feel uncomfortable. It made me feel a little bit uncomfortable the first time I heard it. But the reality is, I want us to sit in that uncomfortability for just a second, because I think it will help us relate to and understand the audience that John was talking to in the book of Luke. So they asked, what should we do? And John's answer probably made them feel as uncomfortable as that conversation did between Elon and Tom. Here's what John says. He says, if you have 2 shirts, give one to the poor. If you have food, share it with those who are hungry. Even corrupt tax collectors came to be baptized and asked, teacher, what should we do? And he replied, collect no more taxes than the government requires. And what should we do? Asked some of the soldiers. And John replied, don't extort money or make false accusations. Be content with your pay. In other words, people came to John asking something along the lines of, what does it look like to follow the path of Christ? What's it look like to follow the path of love? What does it look like to have a life driven by love? And his answer here is super practical and probably made them really, really, really uncomfortable. After he talks to the whole community and says, like, you should take care of the poor, he then looks at those who the system gave unique privilege to. He looked at the tax collector, those people who literally made their living off the back of the oppressed, and said, stop charging extra money just so that you can enrich yourself. He says, don't exploit your privilege. Then he looks at those who are in power, the soldiers, the military, and says, just be content that the quest for power isn't what you should be after. And just lest you ever think that this John guy said that and that Jesus would reform this and say something else, I want you to see what Jesus actually said about John the Baptist. In Matthew, he said this, I tell you the truth, of all those who have ever lived, none is greater than John the Baptist. In other words, it seemed like the person who Jesus saw as the preparer of the path, the one who would help people figure out what it looks like to live a life driven by love, the one who looked like a life that mirrored that which Christ would do. When he was asked the most basic and direct of practical questions, he said a very straightforward answer, which is actually our second principle for today, and that's this. The path of love doesn't say it's a problem to have, but it does say there's a problem with having to have more. Okay? The path of love doesn't say it's a problem to have, but it does say that there's a problem with having to have more. But that is not the overarching answer that we hear today. Whether it is the constant drone for me to get a new phone, or a new car, or a bigger house, or more stuff, or fancier clothes, or a bigger 401k, or whatever, our culture has told us that more is better. Culture has told us that getting it all is better than giving it away. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we kind of feel like the people talking to John here. We look around and it doesn't feel like everything is getting better, that we're getting more, maybe, but it doesn't necessarily feel like life is better. We feel like maybe things are worse. And let me be really honest with you. I think maybe that's the point. I think marketers and psychologists know that this is the reality. Dr. Anna Schaffner wrote it this way. She said, "We often find ourselves caught in a cycle known as the hedonic treadmill. This phenomenon, also known as hedonic adaptation, suggests that despite experiencing positive events or acquiring desirable possessions, our happiness levels tend to return to a stable baseline over time." In other words, when I get a new phone or when I get a new thing, that new thing is really awesome and shiny for like 3 minutes. And then it no longer brings me the same joy, right? It's like when I first got a new computer and like I wanted to make sure I never accidentally left it to the side just in case someone would take it. And then, after a few weeks, you just kind of like throw it wherever, right? Of course, not my device here from the venues. I take good care of that all the time. But psychologists also tell us the opposite is true. Okay, and this is really important. Dr. Joshua Hook did a long-term meta-analysis of studies where people voluntarily chose to give up more of their stuff. And he compared that research and looked at the results and said this, that overall, the vast majority of studies found a positive relationship between voluntary simplicity and well-being. The empirical research is consistent with theory that voluntary simplicity has close connections between these constructs and happiness and meaning. In other words, science is telling us what John told us a long time ago. When the treadmill of life says you've got to stay on the treadmill, you've got to get more and more because that high that you got the last time that you got something, the only way you can get more of it is to stay on the treadmill. Maybe the only way to do that is to jump off the treadmill. Sorry, I didn't mean to pound. That probably picked up really loudly. Sorry, people online. Here's the thing. When John is confronted with the idea of what they should do, the overarching story that he tells everyone is to give away what they have to the needy. The word here that is used, by the way, for give it away, is a word that's not used a whole lot in the New Testament. It's only used a handful of times. And it has this idea of really intense giving it away. In fact, one of the times that it's used, it's actually used in juxtaposition to the word stealing. Like the same desire that you have to steal to live, you should have that same desire to give so that others can live. And I think that's a really interesting comparison there, that you should do this with that intensity. It's honestly no different than this balloon, actually, okay? Like if I blow this up, everyone online is going to hear it. So I'm not going to do that. But we know that in order for a balloon to be fun for people, it has to have some air in it, right? Once you blow it up some, it can be used as a decoration. It can be used for kids to play with, and it's a really great time. But if you blow it up too much, what happens? It pops, and it ceases to be useful for anything. And I think here's the thing, that what John points out here is that the problem isn't having some air. The problem isn't getting some in. The problem is the desire that we have in our society just to have more and more and more and more and more. And I think some of us are almost at a place of feeling like we're going to pop. But I think that that's what John points out. If you look at the text, after John says that we should give things away, he doesn't just tell them to just do it once and chill out, right? I want you to pay specific attention to the way that he says this to both the tax collectors and the military people. He says this, collect no more taxes than the government requires, and don't extort money or make false accusations, but be content with your pay. These words, collect and content, actually mean that there's this idea that you would continue doing it. The word for collect there is actually the word that we get our English word practice from. That we should practice, we should continue doing these things. It's not like we should just give up everything and stop existing in our world, but rather, John doesn't say that we have to give away both cloaks. John says, continue doing your thing, but make sure that others are taken care of. And that's the final thing that I want to share with you today, and that's this. That clearing out the excess allows us to focus on the important. That clearing out the excess allows us to focus on the important. Both of the comments that John indicates here show that people should continue to do their jobs. It's a reminder to us that this path of following Jesus is not a one-time piece. Yes, Giving a tunic away one time is great. It makes sure that the other person is warm. But he says, actually, as you continue to do that, continue to live in a way that continues to breathe life into those around you. A couple of weeks ago, my wife Morgan and I went to Lawrence, Kansas, to see the University of Arizona play the University of Kansas in basketball. Morgan and I are both huge University of Arizona fans, bear down. And the reality is that at the time, Arizona was the top team in the country, and Kansas was number 9. Sadly, at the end of the game, Kansas ended up winning by 4 points. By the way, the University of Arizona got their revenge yesterday, crushing Kansas by 23. But objectively, that was the most electric place I have ever been to watch a game of any sort. And it's not for the reason that you might think. Allen Fieldhouse, the stadium where Kansas plays, is not a comfortable place to watch a game at all. Most of the seats are bleacher seats. They don't have backs. The seats are literally like this wide, and the stadium feels like it doesn't have any centralized heat or air. So it felt like it was 200 degrees in there. There were 20,000 fans, and about 100 of us were U of A fans. And while the fans directly in front of us were obviously Kansas fans, every time that they would take a selfie, we would kneel down behind them and do the bear down sign. And every time that Kansas would score, they would turn around and be like. And at the end of the game, they turned around and shook our hands and thanked us for coming. They said it was more fun because we were there cheering on our team, knowing all of our players' names and all that. They said it was more fun. And there were a number of people who did that exact same thing. They told us that they were happy that we were there. And I believed them. It was almost, and I hesitate to even say it this way, but it was almost like it was a sacred space. Not because they had more, but because they had less. And so people were able to focus on the key thing. They were able to focus on basketball instead of focusing on giveaways during every timeout, which they didn't have any. It was a place that took our breath away, not because the technology was the newest, but because it was the oldest. And it made it such that there was a group of people there who were committed to the idea of focusing on the important thing. I like the way that Dorothy Soul says this. She was a mid-20th German political theologian, and she said, God's message is unambiguous. You are to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, bury the dead, visit the imprisoned. And all of these works are forbidden by economic structures in which we live. It is designed to let the hungry starve, make the rich richer, and the poor poor. But God is justice. And to know God means to do justice. In other words, the system is such that to continue in the system of just more and more all the time is incompatible with the path of following love, the path of following Jesus. But it's necessary to do a step in the right direction here. And this is one of those places that I'm so thankful for the way the Venues does this. The way that we step up and make sure that our hungry are fed. The way that it's not just a one-time thing. The way that, I don't know if you all read this story this week, about the way that Randy stood with people and said, I will stand here with you. And I'm so thankful for that. The way that you all continue to stand with people week after week, after day, to make sure that it's not just a one-time thing that cold people get warm, but it's a weekly and daily thing. In the same way that it wouldn't be okay with my wife Morgan if I told her I loved her once. Or if I made dinner for her once, or I cleaned the house once, or I got one paycheck ever. She understands love because I continue to tell her that. And I think there's a thing about us loving each other that follows that same path. Last week, Amy Crawford got up here and told you about one of the social justice projects that we do here, which is our kids ministry, where we have people who need to be loved, kids who need to be told that they don't have to face the religious trauma that so many in this room grew up with, and that it's a social justice project to stand down there with them. And last week, I had the opportunity to go down in Kids Venue and take a short video of them. So I want to show you this really quickly before we do anything else.
Why volunteer in family venues? We have between 70 and 100 kids and students, and need over 20 adults to make all the programming happen.
I love at Kids Venue just seeing all of the returning kids each Sunday and also all of our new faces.
Don't worry about teaching the lesson or being a Bible scholar. Our staff takes care of that.
So many people are just characters. lesson.
We also have Students Venue.
One thing that I enjoy about Students Venue is that all of the people are so nice, and if you're new, you should just come down and laugh with us.
Everyone's included.
We want each kid's experience to be safe, fun, and meaningful, and we need your help to make that happen. Email Amy at thevenues.org to get more information.
Last week when Amy stood up here and said we need more volunteers, you showed up. And let me be honest, I could tell you about it, but I think it'd be better actually if I threw it down to Amy, who's down in Kids Venue right now, and let her tell you about how awesome this is. Amy, are you down there? See if she can come.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kids Venue. We just wanted to say thank you so much for answering our volunteer call. Because of you, we are fully staffed for the first time in about a month, and we are so excited to share our experience with everybody. So we have a couple kids that want to say hello this morning. So welcome to pre-K. Say hi. And we have our babies over here that are dancing, saying hi. And we are just very thankful for you guys stepping up. We still have some spots open, so if you guys are interested in second through middle school, we'd be very grateful. Thanks again.
Awesome. Let me say this. Is stepping up sometimes uncomfortable? Sure it is, right? When you step up to serve down in Kids Venue or Students Venue, it means that you're not in here hanging out with all of your peers. You're hanging out with kids. But sometimes stepping up and being uncomfortable is the way that we deal with this. Is it always comfortable to step up and go downtown and feed our unsheltered friends or to stay overnight with them? It's not. But it's one of the reasons that I believe that Springfield needs the venues, y'all. And that means Springfield needs you. Love doesn't say that we just keep letting the status quo happen. Instead, it says that we are intentional about what we spend our time doing. If all I did was fill up my balloon, eventually it would pop. It wouldn't have the utility or the enjoyment for anyone. But having the balance between the fullness of it and letting air out of it allows it to be used for a lot longer. It's part of the process of telling people that we love them. It's an ongoing process. I have to tell Morgan I love her consistently. We tell our unsheltered friends consistently that we love them. And we tell our kids and our families here that we love them by showing up time and time again. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what the next step like that looks like for you. Maybe it's volunteering down in Kids Venue. I know that we could use more volunteers down there to really make sure that that social justice project continues. Maybe it's joining to be part of the regular team that makes sure that our unsheltered friends are fed or taken care of during the cold nights. Or maybe it's just something as simple as realizing that the reason that Allen Fieldhouse felt spiritual was because they stood against the principle of having to have more, newer, and better all the time and instead said, let's just focus on the really important thing, which was being together in a room, sharing life together. In a world where ads and pressures all the time push us to do more, faster, better, smarter, maybe the answer is just be together. And maybe that's the answer to the really, really practical question of what should we do? I'll be honest with you, there may be other questions that you would have this morning. Normally at the end of service, if we have time, we like to answer questions. There's about 30 seconds left this morning, so I don't want to dishonor your question by rushing through it. But if you want to text us a question or talk to us about that, there are a lot of ways that we can do that, and I'll promise you that I will get back to getting the answer to that question either today or tomorrow, okay? We can go get coffee and talk about it, because then we can just be together, fight against the overconsumption, and just go get a cup of coffee, okay? With that said, I want to give you a couple of dismissal instructions, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here. The first is this. I want to turn around and say goodbye to our online audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so thankful that you gave us that opportunity. We have a couple of